Caffeine and Coils, and I'm Deanna.
And I'm Jenny.
And we have a special guest with us today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Jay Hefner. I'm the Aftermarket Manager at Mingledor's.
Welcome back, Jay.
Thank
I know
you.
you've been
Yeah.
on the pod with us before.
Oh, yeah.
Remind us, how long have you been with the company?
Just about 11 years almost.
11 years, okay. So you're not quite a lifer just yet.
No.
But you're well on your way.
And it's like dog years, right? And Mingledor's years,
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
still young.
This place, it is. It's like the fountain of youth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what is our hot topic today?
Today we are going to talk about aftermarket and supplies.
Growing aftermarket sales as an OEM distributor and how that affects our customers as well. So ought to be a good topic. So what do we even mean when we say aftermarket in HVAC distribution?
Well, you can look at a lot of things as aftermarket. You know, you can actually look at OEM parts as aftermarket depending on the application. So aftermarket's anything and everything that's not our main brands, Carrier and Bryant. So we have 400 vendors plus, we have represented lines, we have all the above. So from a traditional sense, it would be service parts, supplies, anything that someone would need to complete a job, but there are a lot of ancillary items as well. So it's kind of all the above. Anything that's not equipment is how we
What makes
essentially
it
look at
important to the business?
So, you know, the way that Mingledor's approaches it, which I think is the correct way, is we try not to just become a PO. We don't want to just be a PO factory. Like, give me a PO, buy X amount of whatever. We want to try to apply what our equipment teams do to parts, because, you know, parts as a percentage of equipment has kind of raised over the years. It used to be lesser, and when you're doing change outs, it's a certain percentage, and of course construction's a lot more because you're doing everything from scratch. But what we want to do is go to our dealers and say, hey, you know, you might be getting a really cheap price on this motor, but you're buying too many of them. Like, you got some leakage somewhere in your organization. Let us give you some data. Let's give you some tools to help you be lean so you got just enough. Because, you know, as we go through a lot of our programs, we wind up going through truck stocks, and we'll take trucks down, and the amount of waste that's on there, nobody really has taught that very well over the years, in my opinion. And I think the nature of a technician is the same nature I have when I go to Home Depot. It's like, I know I've already got 2 or 3 of these, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
Not even sure I can find the ones I have. So
That's me as well.
and I think that if we can give data to our customers that helps them be lean, you know, have what they need so they don't have to send their people to the supply house or to anywhere as much. I think that's huge. That's a huge win for all of us, for us collectively, because we're approaching parts and supplies as a more of a what's a why for our customers. Like, it's not just a price, it's not just this, you know, there's many factors, but give them that feedback and saying, hey, you know, you got employees that leave. Like, that's an example that happens, and it's a small percentage, but, you know, you don't know. You know, Mingledor's has to be really proactive to make sure we shut accounts down, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of that kind of stuff out there. And when you got a dealer that's got multiple trucks and they got people that are pretty autonomous in where they want to do and how they want to buy things, that's good, you know, because you have relationships out there. But I think our responsibility is we need to be able to give them data so they know they're not wasting. So
Yeah.
they know, you know, so they can track down anything that might be slippage.
How would you say that the aftermarket side of the business has changed over the past few years, especially as more contractors focus on repair versus replace?
So I think this industry is cyclical. So I'm pretty deep in the industry, although I'm still little kid at Mingledorf's. But I think we go through cycles, right? And we're coming from a long period of, equipment change outs. I think there's a lot of factors that we have to play, right? When you start thinking about the last few years, you got to think about COVID. A lot of people were at home. I mean, I think home repairs were at an all-time high because everybody that's usually gone during the week is home and they're looking at this, or, I got to deal with that air conditioner. I've been limping it along. And I think a lot of that happened. A lot of people got new units. And I also think, with inflation, there's just a lot of different factors in the market.
Yeah.
And how it's changed is, I think there are people that try to do all of the above, right? You got everything from a homeowner that's going to try to DIY their repair, which is usually doesn't turn out well, unfortunately. But I think the main message, right now is people want options. In this environment, in this technology environment we're in, people want to be in control of what they buy. They want to be able to track things. They want to be able to watch everything. They want to see all this stuff. But I think we're all trying to collectively figure out, how do we balance all of this with e-commerce? How do we stock the right parts in the right place? How do we not have too much inventory, but how do we have just the right amount? So it's really not changed from that perspective as far as that goes, from our responsibility as a distributor to make sure we handle warranty, we support the products that we carry. But the why really is, we're already having to handle parts for warranty anyway. Why not become more of an all-inclusive service for our dealers?
Yeah.
So what's the biggest growth opportunity you're seeing right now in parts and supplies, and how is that going to affect our customers?
Right now, in this specific time, we're in a pretty much what we would call a service. People are going to choose, they're going to ask for a repair. And I think the customers that are our dealers, our contractors that understand that, are giving the customer a multitude of options, right? And I think what we're trying to do is give our customers enough product that they can sell while they're doing their maintenances. Air quality is still a big deal, and it's going to always be a big deal. And so what we're doing is we're saying, okay, here are some parts, here's some parts you can put in your unit that'll make your older unit a little bit more efficient, like motor upgrades. And during our service update classes, we've got vendors going in and giving them ideas, giving our contractors ideas to be able to say, what else can we offer this customer? Obviously, we sell equipment. We're going to want an equipment change out, right? But if, you've got a consumer economy that's maybe pushing back a little bit, or people are not wanting to spend money, because we all know we've felt inflation personally. And I think the ones that are doing it right are, if they can repair it, they are repairing it. They're given an option to repair it, and then putting them on a service contract, and they'll earn that change out eventually. They prove them that way. The contractor proves themselves to the customer, to the homeowner. I think the opportunity to start upselling through that process, because you can do thermostats.
Yeah.
There's many things, and it's not just gimmicky. I mean, it's real. We can deal with condensate problems. There's a lot of things that will make it's a comfort upsell, where you can help the homeowner, and eventually, it pays off through the service contract to eventually get you can earn that change out.
Yeah.
That's how I see it right now. That's just from my view as a parts guy.
I definitely think there is an element to earning their trust and saying, hey, I can get you back going for the cheapest way possible, but if we do this and this, it's still cheaper than a whole, and a complete change out, but it will give you a little bit more efficiency and a little bit more visibility, or whatever that upsell or cross sell will be.
some of our contractors, I talk to a lot of our dealers, and they'll literally say, look, you know, you asked me to repair this. It's not going to last long. Like, this is a very temporary repair. And they'll say, I need you to sign off on it
Yeah.
to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But I think that building that trust, like you said, that's
Yeah.
a big deal, because it's no different than like our people at work, our salespeople. That's my biggest thing is like when they first start, I'm like, answer your phone, tell the truth.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's such an important part of dealing with customers, whether you're on our side or the contractor side. You got to earn that trust, and sometimes you have to tell them exactly how it is. Like, I can fix it and I can have you going again, but it might last a week, it might last 3 weeks. I can't guarantee that this is going to be a long-term fix.
Right.
Yeah, we talked a lot about honesty and that type of thing with customer service with our episode with Steven.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's very well known nobody's perfect, and
Yeah.
things are going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to pull something short sometimes. Customer's going to give you the wrong model number sometimes. I mean, it's just things happen. It's just the industry, but the best thing we can do is be transparent
Yeah.
and correct it with the relationships. You know, that's really where the relationships come in play. And, you know, selling parts and supplies it's like an ecosystem. Jenny's sick of hearing me say this, but it is, because, you know, if you got good vendor relationships and you've got to work through a scenario where either we made a mistake or a customer made a mistake or
even the vendor made a mistake, so
Yep.
we've gotten mislabeled product and things like that. And the better the relationship is all the way around, the more grace everyone's willing to give each other.
Yeah.
And-
that's really,
Yeah.
that's kind of the main focus that's the way I look at it, is if you're partnering up with a vendor and, you know, you need something from them, it's a two-way street. And
Exactly.
it goes that way with our dealers. It goes that way with internal employees and the different departments. And, you know, that's what it's all about, building that
I
relationship.
100% agree.
So how would you say that inventory strategy impacts aftermarket growth, and what's the sweet spot between overstocking but also losing business due to shortages?
Yeah, that's something that my whole career, it's something that's been a work in progress. And we've got a great central purchasing team. We've got, Mingledorf has got out there in front of all of this and built up some structure so that we can do that. And I think, again, it's cyclical and it's evolving always, right? So like when we're coming into preseason, we try to say, hey, there's these certain parts that we need. One of the challenges we have, because we're so large, is we literally have a couple of different climates in our footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, you know, we may have snow in northwest Alabama and it may be 70 degrees on the Gulf Coast the same day.
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets really tricky. And I think we do a pretty good job, but part of it is we have to talk to the customers a lot, and we have to know what they've got coming up so we can brace for it, and it's all communication.
And I think we have several parts and supplies guys that are dedicated just to selling parts and supplies that work really closely with their customers. I know I'm like weighing in and kind of stealing your thunder here, but work really close with their customers and count stock rooms and count vans and look at the data and look at what they're selling. And they do that every so often. So I think that helps them kind of stay in tune with what's moving, what's not moving, and, you know, some of the issues that they're having with stuff getting broken on vans or whatever the scenario may be, to kind of keep their finger on the pulse, if you will.
We have a good data suite, and we're building that. We went through some system changes, and it's getting better every day. We're starting to really glean a lot of the benefits out of everything that we went through. And I think we'll get better at it. It's you have to base everything on, you know, your highest moving stuff first. But what we're seeing now with a lot of our dealers is they're going after other things out there, like different kind of jobs, because they're, they've got to be successful as well. They got employees that have families that they need to feed too, and so we're trying to offer all of that to them. But sometimes it's a direct ship. Sometimes we don't touch it. We send it directly, but we do the work to, help them figure out what they need for the job. And then sometimes it's, a salesperson's bringing on a new dealer somewhere, and we got to let inventory know, hey, store manager, inventory, we all got to get together and talk and say, all right, this is going to be an uptick, so we need to plan it so we make sure that we don't have any outages. Because on the other side, if you have someone that is coming in the store and buying a lot, if you run out, you're breaking the habit, especially when you get into true aftermarket, like where it's, everybody's got similar things that you can go and get it somewhere else. And that's the magic.
What's your approach to kind of identifying that slow moving stuff, or maybe the high turn items that we are running out? Like, how do you stay on top of all of that data?
Well, the good news is we have centralized purchasing, and they stay on top of that data pretty well. I tend to find out about it once
Down the
it's
road.
and I try to preach, and we all try to preach that we got to be proactive with it. We need to work order controls and make sure that we've got everything set up to be here when it needs to be here. But that's why it's so important. Going back to what we just said, if you bring on a new customer, you got to make sure you let somebody know.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that you got what they want. And, that's the other thing is there's so much. I mean, like I said earlier, we have so many vendors.
Yeah.
There's so much to navigate. And I think our job is, not only to provide the data for the customer, if we have something that's maybe an alternative product that might fit the need better that we already have, that's kind of what we try to do. We'll offer it. Sometimes dealers are like, I buy this because it's what my dad bought and it's what my granddad bought, and I'm not ever going to change, and that's fine too. We kind of have to be everything to everybody if you're going to sell aftermarket at a high level.
Yeah.
So how do you handle new product introductions?
Yeah, that's challenging, especially in this age, because there's so many vendors, and they're all trying to leapfrog each other in technology. So what I tend to do is I'll have if a vendor brings something to me and I think it's pretty good, I'll try to say, okay, let's get this out to some customers. But let's also get us out to store managers. Let's talk to our inventory group and make sure we don't have something that's redundant already like it. And it's just kind of a dance. You have to dance every day where you have to find all these things out. And it's because because we're so large. I mean, we're in our footprint. We have so many locations and different territories, different nuances in every area.
Yeah, and like you said, different climates to different needs.
That's right. So we try to focus on the highest moving items. And, main thing that we're seen as is, we're Carrier Bryant. First thing we need to be good at is OEM. We need to be good at warranty. We need to be good at tech support. And I think we're really good at all that. And I think, the theory is, why aftermarket, right? Well, we're already doing a certain percentage of it, just supporting the equipment. So why not offer everything? So that's kind of what we're all talking about as a company is, if you got something that's out of warranty, just for this environment we're in right now, we're trying to give our folks, they're on the counters and front lines, the tools, so they can say, okay, here's what it shipped with when it was new, but here's an alternative option that's a little bit cheaper in case you're trying to get a repair.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all have to evolve to in our industry right now for a while. And I think it'll make us all better too. I think that, we're all creatures of habit. And when it's easy to sell equipment, you know, for a long period of time, that other stuff kind of gets dropped down. And I think we can all learn right now from this, you know, in this kind of arena we're in right now. I think it's extremely important for us all to recognize it and give our customers options, because that's what they want. They want options,
Yeah.
because that's what they're being asked for.
How are you seeing e-commerce influence parts and supplies sales at the branch level?
That's going to be continually evolving. It's going to go that direction more and more as we go. I think we've embraced it. We're working really hard to get a good product out there for everybody to be able to utilize. And I think that you're going to have some of the younger folks that would prefer to use that. There are a lot of these just...
I always order online if I can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, it's good for the marketplace. It's good for competition. I think what some of the online-only folks are struggling with a little bit is with warranty.
Yeah.
With having that person they can call, they have that relationship with, or, we've got everything from people that want to do everything online that never want to even have a conversation with someone, to people that won't even call the store. They want to drive to the store and see somebody face to face.
Yeah.
And we really kind of have to be open to all of those folks. I mean, there's no one path.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just got to strive to be better and better at e-commerce the longer we go into this thing. And, but Mingeldorf's has got so much support. I mean, our tech services group, outstanding. Our warranty group's outstanding. Our stores. I mean, if you just think about all the relationships between all the employees that work here, between all the 7,000 customers, it's pretty incredible what happens on every level.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's so many examples of customers having multiple touch points within our company. I have, interactions with customers alongside their TMs, and I know some of the girls in credit and, finance, and all over the place. It's kind of cool because not every company is like that. A lot of companies just kind of focus on the TM customer relationship instead of having multiple aspects and multiple touch points with the company.
Well, and the TMs too, that's huge, because they're out with business development helping the customers be more profitable. And they've got a lot of things. They're always juggling all the time as well. And that's part of the reason why we have aftermarket support and aftermarket salespeople, because the TMs, their day is chaotic.
Yeah.
And we're trying to make it easy, because that's really my goal. That's how you win, is you make it easy for everyone.
Yeah.
Not just, you can't just make it only easy for one section of people. The internal customers are just as important as the external customers are.
Yeah. So what kind of tools, like digital tools, like text marketing, email campaigns, online search, what kind of tools are helping contractors find and buy the parts that they need?
I think it's all the above.
Yeah.
I really do. I think as AI evolves, which I'm not the person to talk about it, because I don't. I use it sometimes, but I'm usually working on something.
Yeah, it's great at congregating information for you.
Yeah.
So I think as we move forward into the future, that's going to be part of searching and that kind of thing.
But I think we're addressing the search well.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some stuff coming up that's going to really help us a lot, and we're doing a ton of work in the background to enrich all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely excited about it, because I think we've got to be able to offer, again, we got to be everything to everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The challenge when you're a distributor and you've got an OEM that's a huge OEM like Carrier is, very high thought of brand,
Mm-hmm.
a leader, that's the challenge you have as a distributor is, okay, well, we're covered here. We got this brand here. it's our territory, you know, so nothing happens here without us being involved. But as soon as you go across the line to the aftermarket thing, you're basically going from, you know, the car dealership to AutoZone. So, you know, when you're selling aftermarket, you're competing with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
so there's a strong urge to try to get play down there and the price war and all that, but that's just not, I mean, we are competitive, don't get me wrong, but I think we offer so much other value. Like, you know, we have parts and supplies salespeople that when the truck makes a delivery, they take the pallet down and they go stack it on the shelf, and then they count it, and they say, hey, you use this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have steady stock, which is all digitized. You can scan barcodes with any device. We can set up bin levels for their warehouse, even down to the truck level. And you can show that dealer exactly who's using what. It can show you where it was scanned out at. So if they use the contactor, you can see on the map, they scan this out at this job site, so all of that. So that gives us the way to give the accountability back to the dealer and say, hey, look, you know, you can match up your scans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much value in that. And steady stock, which I love the name of it, but it's actually something that's an extremely powerful tool for our dealers that want to track all this stuff. You know, it's not for everyone, but it's the ones that want to use it. If they use it the way that it's intended, it gives us data to be able to arm them and let them be lean and get everything they need to get.
And how do they get in touch with someone if they do want to learn more about steady stock?
You could send, I mean, any of your TMs, anybody like that, or stores should know about it. We've got, I don't want to give out one name because it, you know, we're a big company.
Personal cell phone number is.
Yeah. But yeah, any of that, it's in we got it in preseason in there. I think there's an
email address and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think the TMs are kind of tasked with, if their customers are interested in it, to kind of lead the charge on getting them headed in the right direction.
Yeah, kind of how we do that is we'll do a Zoom. You know, generally it's a Zoom, and we'll present it to the customer, and we'll go through and show all the nuances of it, and then they'll make a decision if it fits
Mm-hmm.
their model or not.
So how do contractors better partner with their local distributor to make sure they're not missing out on rebates or promotions or bundled, any kind of savings like that?
I think it's you just have to spend time with each other. It's relationships the key, and I think the more time you spend with each other, the more things you peel back and figure out. Because, you know, it happens to me a lot because we're so big. I'll be traveling somewhere and I'll either learn something that I didn't know we even had, or vice versa. Or I'll tell somebody and they'll say, oh, we can do that. And I'm like, yeah. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but it's just because we've really grown a lot.
Yeah.
We're really big, and so nobody's doing anything wrong. It's just everybody's got to stay connected to those customers and really give them every option. You know, that's what I always tell my folks is let them tell you no, but the last thing you want to do is not mention something to them and not give them the option, and they find out about it later. They're going to not be happy with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think communication is key with a lot of that, and kind of piggybacking on that idea, you know, another thing that's key is training your employees. So how do you think that contractors can train their teams to recognize high margin parts and accessories that often get overlooked?
Yeah, I think that's so that goes back to the vendor relationships. Just like I said when we were going through our service update classes, I told those vendors, I'm like, you're not going to have an hour in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have 10 minutes maybe, and you need a table. But your goal is to get our dealers to ask you to come and train their staff. Because, when you get into something like IAQ, I mean, you get a really technical person out there, they can stump me, and I mean, it's not hard to stump me at all with that. And I would prefer let me take the IAQ rep that's all they do. Because, we've got salespeople, they're trying to cover 20,000 SKUs.
Yeah, there's a
So
lot
it's
of
really
different-
hard for them to get really deep. So part of what I always put on our plans every year is you got to do X amount of vendor ride-alongs. Let the vendor go with you, because that builds confidence with our dealers, because they are talking to the person that manufactured it, designed it, selling it in other places, and that's kind of where we want to get to. We want to get to that point where we can go to, another area in the company and say, hey, we're having success with this product over here. What do you think? Because just like we have different, our footprints got so many differences. There's certain products that work really well on the coast. They may not be a very good product for up in North Georgia,
Right.
because you got heavy
Different
humidity
needs.
there.
Yeah.
You got aluminum there, where you got to be careful. There's salt water. There's a lot of different things there, and I think that's part of why we have so many different vendors. Is you have to be a chameleon, kind of in a way, and that's why having regional salespeople in those areas that are focused on aftermarket is important, because they can come back to the vendor and say, hey, there's a condensate issue down here and we need to work on this product. This is a product that we need to be presenting, and they'll go to the stores and say, let's get displays in there, and Jenny will put something out on it, and so that's kind of how we try to go to market with it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's one product category that you think contractors are sleeping on when it comes to aftermarket stuff? Like, what's one thing that you would say, this is such a good product and not a lot of people are utilizing it, you should be selling it?
Well, it goes back to the areas, right? We've got some products that are new that are really out there, like iFlow is one that's really been something it's fantastic for this environment we're in right now with service, because you can say, hey, you're not going to have drainage problems. I mean, you have homeowners that literally know about this, these drain pans getting clogged up.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's good, and it has some benefits to the professional version, where you can make some switches, Wi-Fi, that's not available for purchase out there in big box retailers. IAQ's always there. IAQ's always an opportunity. The motor upgrade, like I was talking about earlier, that's always an opportunity, where you take a standard motor and make it a variable motor, and that helps your energy bill some. And it's always controls. Controls are always, thermostats, zoning. But I think, it's hard to say there's one, because we cover so much ground. There's a multitude of them. And I think that's where the consultative selling comes in place, where you say, hey, this is a fit for you, I think. Try it out. And we cast a wider net when we do it through the service update classes. That way, I'll try to send multiple types of vendors in there. Like, we have vendors that have products that will seal up a system, right? Well, that's not a long-term solution. But in this environment, it's important for our dealers to be educated on all of the options they all have.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times our dealers, the way, they don't need people going to all over town to supply houses all the time. It's better for us to come to them with all of this. It's better for us to come to them with the new products, for training, for stocking, all of that stuff. I mean, that's, Ben Pascal, I think you've had him on here, and he literally tries to make himself another employee for that customer. He tries to fill a gap there, so that he's the person that's putting up the stock, and he's counting, and hey, I think you might want to look into this. This is a new product we have out. And,
That's awesome.
yeah.
What would you say is a product category that you think that everyone needs to be watching out for going into the next season?
Well, you got your staples, right? You got your You got your gas, your combustion products, all that stuff. I think that humidification and dehumidification is something that is going to continue to go because that's a comfort thing.
So I don't have to keep putting eye drops in my eyes every morning when I
Right.
wake up.
Right. But I think that's definitely that's an example of an upsell that if the system's fine, you're doing your checks, maybe it's a lower SEER system because I know our higher SEER stuff that handles humidity anyway, but there's an opportunity there for upsell either on the system or bolt-on product.
For sure. I need to add that to my system
Me too.
as it is now.
Because I've heard about, I don't know if this is too off topic, but, like a humidifier that you can get just at the store to put in your room. I've heard bad things about like mold growing in them and not, you have to make sure you're cleaning them properly, and I'm scared of that.
Well, that's why IAQ's
Get myself mold poisoning.
Well, then you got IAQ to help combat that.
Yeah.
So it's a package. I mean, it really is. It's an ecosystem again.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny's looking at me like, oh my
You're just
God.
running that into the ground.
I can't help it. I don't know how else to say it. It is what it is. It's all of it's related.
It is. I agree with that. And I think the more contractors we have who get on board with that thinking and that mindset, the more the consumer mindset will change about it, and it'll just be you're going to have a whole kit that you install when you have new construction or you have a change out. There'll be IQ included, humidification, dehumidification, photocatalytic stuff, the whole thing. So
Well, I was listening to Bud's podcast last night, and he was
You're
talking.
getting amped up to come on.
Yeah, I was getting fired up, which was great. I enjoyed it a lot. But he was talking about when people were moving out of apartments into houses, air conditioning became necessary because they were used to air conditioning. And I think that's what you're.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's
it'll
the
become
same mentality.
Yeah, it's going to come along to where everyone's going to have all of that is going to be just standard. It's just like we don't get in a car anymore that your phone doesn't automatically connect Bluetooth so
That's
you
right.
can talk on the phone or listen to your music or whatever. It's going to become the standard that all of these features are just going to be included in whatever system you're putting in.
I remember in commercial controls, when I first started in this industry, I can remember going to Delta Dash, having to buy an airplane ticket for a part to have it sent
Oh.
on a plane and go at 3 o'clock in the morning and get it
Oh my gosh.
to the customer. And I can remember as commercial controls evolved, that was such a big help because the controls will say, hey, you got a problem coming. Let's get in front of it so we're not sending this.
So we're not literally, what do they call that? There was like a term in my previous life in the manufacturing world. I can't think of it now, but that's what they call it. Like you put it on an airplane, and it's like the most expensive way,
Yeah.
but it's the quickest way.
But I've seen that go away. Thank God. Like it went away because controls went from bells and whistles to a necessity.
Yeah.
When you got multiple properties,
Yeah.
somebody wants to be able to look and see it. And I think that some of the technology that's coming out now with thermostats and connected homes and all that stuff, it's been out for a while.
But it's getting to the level
Starting
now.
to get there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we
agree
got
with that.
thermostats that are showing doorbell cameras on the thermostat.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot that's going to continue to come, and I think people are going to continue to embrace it. I think
I
it's
think so too.
probably embraced. I think that's where the challenge is with e-commerce. Is I think a lot of times this is already embraced at the homeowner level. So they'll try to go get it, and I think that we owe it to our dealers to be as cutting edge as we can be with all the technology. So they're armed so that they can handle just the install. Because I run into this a lot, with online retailers. Is somebody will order something in, and then they're like, I don't know how to put this in. I went and bought this.
Yeah.
Illusions of grandeur, and I thought I was going to be able to fix it, but now I got to call somebody.
Yeah.
And then our customers are like, look, we're paying for training. We got a license. There's a lot of insurance. There's a lot of risk being a dealer
Yeah.
contractor, and they need to be the ones that say, hey, here's this stuff. Here's some options for you. If you're somebody that's really into technology, this is a pretty cool gadget here.
Yeah.
And let it be that's more natural, because then they can, if the customer's interested, they get to install, and there's technology now that kind of keeps that contractor connected to that homeowner. I mean, I can remember when I was younger, I couldn't remember who worked on my heating and air the last time. When I was like in my 20s, I had no idea. But I could think about how nice it is. You click on something and it's like, oh, or better yet, the dealer calls you and says, hey, I'm seeing a little something
Yeah.
happen with your condensate. We need
Yeah.
to come out there and check it out. That, for me, I'm going to like, bring it on.
Yeah,
I mean, please.
Before it breaks. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's part of where it's going. I think.
No, I wholeheartedly believe that, because I know we're seeing, like, it used to be that you had either like a magnet and there was like a magnetic plate to your thermostat, or it was like, okay, then it was being printed on the thermostat of like which heating and air company and the phone number. Now it's in the app. Like if you have a smart Wi-Fi, you can, some manufacturers of the thermostats are making it to where inside the app, your contractor name can be in there, and your logo and all that information is starting. So we're on the cusp of it. I think we're going to see in the next 2 to 5 years where maybe even some homeowners have the dashboard on their phone and they pay a subscription fee for that or whatever, and it can say, hey, you need to get somebody out here because you probably got 72 hours until this part goes bad, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think if we arm our contractors with that, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
Because it shows the homeowner that you care, that
Yeah.
you're being proactive, not reactive.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
that's kind of another thing I preach all the time, but I think that's using that technology to become proactive is massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's going to get bigger.
For sure. I'm excited to see what to see how things change and transition over the next few years.
Me too.
All right. Well, those are all the questions that we have for you today. But I do have a fun game.
Oh boy.
So
Fun.
we're going to play this or that, caffeine and coils
Okay.
style. So if it's this, you say caffeine. If it's that, you say coils. So early morning coffee or late night energy drink? Caffeine or coils?
Caffeine.
I mean, I won't sleep, but coils. I just love an energy drink.
I'm caffeine for sure.
Later in the evening.
Yeah, I just
right.
love the taste.
If it's past 6 a.m., it wrecks me.
Oh my
I go to sleep that night.
gosh.
I'm super sensitive to caffeine.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I have heard that it has a very long half-life, so
Yeah.
you should really stop drinking caffeine, about, I think, 10 hours before you go to bed.
Yeah. I'm super early
Wow.
riser, and I just get it out of the way up front. I drink it early.
Yeah, that's wild. Beach vacation or mountain trip?
Coils.
Coils.
What?
I've
Okay, so
changed.
The
wow.
sand.
Okay,
5 years ago, I would have said the opposite.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
Why?
it's just getting old, I guess.
Wow. I don't give me both. Give me caffeine and coils. Like, I want to go to the beach in the summer, and then I want like a cozy mountain retreat in the fall, winter.
Well, I mean, as you travel around, like we went to Wyoming a few years ago, and you spend time up there in the Northwest, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You know?
That's really funny. I don't think I could survive out there. I'm anywhere I got to shovel snow, I'm out.
Yeah, I get it. But it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Landscape.
All right, counter day or trade show? Which one are you taking?
Coils.
I'm going to go caffeine.
Really? A counter day? Interesting. Tell me
Well,
more about that.
Because, when you go to a trade show, you'll have thousands of vendors
Yeah,
there. It's chaos. So you only have you don't ever get to get below the surface with anything.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the counter days is more personal, and you got the pro there, and you got the store personnel, so you're able to train people
I do
that
agree with
wouldn't
that.
get to go to the trade shows a lot of times. That's my take on it.
Yeah, but with the thousands of people you can hide, people won't be wondering where's Deanna? Oh, she must be in the crowd somewhere.
That's funny.
Well, if that's your goal, yeah. I mean,
That's really funny.
you're right.
Okay, podcast or playlist on the drive?
Caffeine.
Yeah, I'm caffeine too now.
Isn't
Why?
it?
Okay, is that an age thing?
I don't. Well,
It's like-
obviously not.
I think
mean,
it helps passing the time better. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Listen, when I was younger, you would not catch me with like talk radio or anything like that. Like it was all music all the time. And now that I've gotten older, I feel like I'm less music.
Well, see,
and
talk radio was
more-
boring. Like they
It
only
was
talked
so
about like the
boring.
news or something like that, or you had some of those
That's true.
vile hosts that would talk about
Yeah.
crazy things. But now you get to choose your niche and like what you want to listen to, and you can change it over the
That's
course
true.
of your trip. So
I think it's a cultural thing that's over. I mean, I keep hearing, like Rogan's podcast is just dwarfs
yeah, we're
television
like
now.
right underneath them.
And yeah, I know you're right there. And I think, but I listen to podcasts all the time. I
Yeah.
do, and that's I drive a lot because I cover the company, so I'm always in my truck. And even though I'm a musician, I don't. It's weird because I don't want to. I
It's
can't
almost like
explain
talking
it.
about
Yeah,
where
it's
when
like
you get
when
home or something.
when you spend hours in the studio, like working a little bitty part of something, you don't want to listen to music over and over again. You're just like,
Yeah.
and I learn a lot. Like with podcasts, there's so much to learn, especially the long form.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The long form's the thing that
That's
I really
where like a
enjoy.
lot of podcasts are leading into. I know a lot of the podcasts I listen to, they're 2-3 hours long.
Same.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of like YouTube content is kind of leaning into that long form setup. That's wild to me though, because we've spent years talking about TikTok and social media and how short our attention span is, and it's like, is it though? Is it really that short? Because some of these YouTubers are publishing content that's an hour and a half long, and we're here for it. I'm more tuned into the YouTube channels than I am the streaming services these days.
Well, I mean, when I turn my television on, I go straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't even have anything. I don't even know why I pay for cable, honestly.
Yeah, I don't have cable.
I don't watch any of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
unless it's a football game or something,
Yeah.
obviously sports, but YouTube there's so much that you can learn. Like YouTube, to me, is the old guy that lived in the neighborhood when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
I could go down there and learn how to build something from him.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube, you can look up and you can see how to build something from 30 different people, and you can choose which one you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's going back to the e-commerce thing. I think that's we're in control of our content now, which is a big move. Like we were only able to like take
Consume,
in
yeah.
what they put out,
Yeah.
but we're in control of it. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of why e-commerce is becoming along like it is.
I agree. Okay, endless coffee or perfect AC all summer?
Coils.
Yeah, Coils.
Ooh, this
Can't
one's
stand
such a
being
tough one
hot.
for me. I don't know if I've ever had a perfect summer with AC in my life.
Well, you might be jaded because of the industry you work in.
Maybe, yeah. All right, I'm going endless coffee on this one.
Okay.
I've seen the dark side. All right, if your work day were a drink, would it be strong coffee or an iced cold brew?
Iced cold brew, or I guess I should say Coils.
Caffeine, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Listen, hot coffee's for business, iced coffee's for pleasure. So for my work day, definitely
I was
caffeine.
thinking like chill, smooth, relaxed.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have any more. That was my last one.
All right, well, thank you for coming on today.
Well, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed. I'm glad what you guys are doing. It's really a big deal. I hear about it as I travel, even outside of our footprint. Everywhere I go, trade shows, vendors I talk to, they all bring caffeine and coils up.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
We work really hard to create the content that we know is there's content out there, but I know it's sometimes not the most, it can be really technical and it's not the most fun to listen to.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring, kind of merge the two of a little bit of technical.
Sweet spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's working.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That's all we have for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.